All right, let's go and get started here. Quick overview of essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using 3D via Composer to actually essentially go through a design review. And Composer is designed to be used by many different people. It can be used by engineers, can be used by marketing department, could be a tech illustrator, even production floor guys if they're needing to get stuff for their end result there. So there's lots of different uses for Composer, and we're going to kind of go through a quick little scenario of what you might be doing for a design review and making use of Composer and seeing the power behind it and how it will save you a ton of time. So kind of the steps that we're going through there. And I was talking about Composer a little bit more. It's essentially fits in between where you create the data and where you distribute the data. You create the data in Solidworks, Pro Engineer, CATIA, any 3D CAD program that's out there, or most 3D CAD programs that are out there. You create the data, and then in Composer, you're essentially creating the assets that you're going to be using for your videos or your PowerPoints or your PDFs or even website stuff for the end result. The issue that's always been there in the past, and I know I've had that issue in my past, was I'd create something in SolidWorks and then a revision would come through and then I'd have to recreate all those additional assets again just so that it reflected the new revision. And that's really kind of the power behind Composer. And it'll save you a lot of time as far as speeding up that process. You can also start the creation of those assets, the JPEGs, the website stuff, early on in the game. One of the stories that I always mention is I'd create a product, get it through production, make sure that it's producible, send it out to powder coat, and then just before it went into the box to get shipped to the customer, I'd be creating the instruction sheet set for it. With Composer, I actually could have started all that stuff way ahead of time rather than waiting for the end product and snapping photos of me putting it on a vehicle right at the tail end there. So it really does save you a lot of time. Composer, just so you're aware, it's a sister product of SolidWorks. Dassault, which is the company that owns SolidWorks, they also own CATIA, but they also own this company called 3D Via, and 3D Via produces a program called Composer. So that's essentially where it fits in the whole family there. But it's a really great asset for saving time and stuff. Alright, so let's kind of go through. I'll get this ready for the first slide here. We're actually going to be working on this PowerPoint. Alright, so I'm going to reduce that down. Let's go and bring up SolidWorks here. Alright, so I took the liberty ahead of time to go out to the new website for 3D Cad Data. Most of you know of 3D Content Central. That's been around for a while. But there's a new website out there called GrabCAD, GRABCAD, another sponsored site from SolidWorks, but it's a great collection of 3D data. So this was a part file, multi-body part file that somebody went through and created a disc and a caliper brake and then the brake pads and stuff on it. So today's design review is we're going to evaluate essentially where this bleeder valve is in position, whether we want it up on the top or where we want it on a different location. Notice though, right now we just have a straight regular disc. We're expecting engineering department to come through and push through a revision change to cross drill it and vent it and do some other stuff with it. But we'll actually see that process and do the update to it. Alright, so as far as getting the CAD data from SolidWorks into Composer, there's a couple of ways we can go about doing this. First one is if I go to the add-ins, bring that up here, and then you'll actually have a 3D Via Composer plugin listed down at the bottom there. Once I load it, then I have the option to export to Composer. Composer is not designed to only run on a machine that's running SolidWorks. You can actually run it on a machine that doesn't have SolidWorks on it at all. In fact, when you buy Composer, you actually get a converter to allow you to take SolidWorks data and convert it into Composer files. So I'm actually going to close out of this part file here, and we're going to just go into Composer itself. Alright, so here's Composer. Pretty straightforward interface. We'll get into a little bit more detail once we have something up. We have tabs going across the top there that we can switch between, and lots of other goodies along the sides there. Alright, so I'm just going to go File, going to go Open. I've got that file out on my desktop here, and I'm going to actually grab in my SLD PRT. In fact, I'll bring up the list there of the different files that you can bring in. So it's a fairly extensive list. I mean, the Composer files, which all start out with the SMG. You can do ASYS, CATIA files, IGES files, STEP files, ProE, Vermal, and then you have your SolidWorks parts, assemblies. You can even bring in some static 2D stuff for backgrounds and that type of thing too. So there's lots of capability of import. Within SolidWorks you can bring in different configurations if you wanted to. You can also do your custom properties. That's this meta properties that's down here. Okay. And then also I can import the bodies. I can also do surface bodies if I wanted to. And then I can also bring in the colors and textures from SolidWorks as well. Alright, so I'm just going to go straight up and open that. You'll see it'll go through the converting here. Okay. So when we bring it in, we get a full assembly tree of what we're looking at here. Let's go and identify the body that we're going to be working on. We can rename things within Composer, so we're not stuck to the name that comes in. Okay, so we're going to be working with that one, and then I might sort it alphabetically here just so it shows up at the top. So that's going to be our item for design review. Alright, first thing I want to do is start creating my views. Essentially I want to establish different views to work from. I'm going to call this one my main view. The views are kind of like configurations in SolidWorks if you think of it in that way, but there's a lot more that you can control with it. Things like the background, zoom in, zoom out, if a part's hidden or not, transparency. So there's a lot of other stuff that you can store in it. It's essentially like configurations with display states with a bunch of other stuff stored in each of these views. Let's see, I'm also going to establish a specific orientation or alignment here. Let me bring in the document properties. So that was file, document properties. Okay, create myself a new view. And just because I want to consistently use the same orientation, I'm going to go and set this first one up so that I can use that over and over. Okay. And that becomes available in here. Okay. So that just gives me a slight orientation change, gets it specifically the way that I want it. I'm also going to hide my UCS in the corner there, or my compass. You can also change the ground there too. In fact, let's go and pull off the grid there, make it look a little bit better. And that'll go and create my view. So I'm going to go through and create a few of these, establishing different aspects of what we're going to be bringing into this PowerPoint for our design review. Mind you, this doesn't have to be the engineer. It could be somebody else that's actually doing this, but they have the ability of manipulating the data. So one of the first things that we want to establish is we want to bring the focus of what we're working on. We're actually going to be working on a little Zerk there. or the bleeder valve there. Go and insert a circle. I'm going to make a change to that. There's a lot of capability of switching different items within Composer. You can actually make tons and tons of transitions. Let's see, so we also want to push up the width there a little bit. Okay. Opacity, make that a little more solid. And then we also want to maybe push up the thickness there a little bit, and there we go. So we've got essentially bringing the focus of what we're wanting to be looking at. Go and zoom in just slightly. And pan that up. There we go. And I'll go ahead and create another view for that. And these will be different aspects I'll be working on for this PowerPoint for the design review. Let's go and do another one here. Let's see. Let's go and get that one changed here or renamed. Okay. All right. Next one, I'm gonna go and put in an item called a digger. This is kind of an advanced type of detail view that Composer has actually created just for doing some really unique items. So I'm just going to point over towards that. We have our traditional zooming, so we have that. Okay. But then we also have like section planes, so we can actually section through a model. We have this guy, which is called the X-ray, which is actually pretty useful because you can change the transparencies of certain things. So it essentially hides certain things to an opacity different level there, but then you can have other things stay visible. So it's a real useful tool there. I'm just going to do the traditional, maybe a zoom there, just to bring our attention to that. And I'm just going to leave that as is. Might flip that over here. Might move my model over just a tad. Okay. Create another view. Again, I'm just establishing items that I'm going to be putting into my PowerPoint here. Highlight. And let's see. Well, I'll leave out the slash just because it's going to be a file name here in a moment for the JPEG that I'll be saving out. And so we've got the view. We've got a few different things added in. We do want to maybe address and change what we're looking at here. All right, so I'm going to turn that off. So we need to actually move that part. So what we'll go and do is zoom in here, grab that bleeder valve, and I'm going to do a rotate. We have the ability of moving our parts within Composer. So I'm actually going to rotate that. Let's see, let's go 90 degrees there. Okay. Get that in position. I'm going to move that out. And what I'll do is I'll go and mate that into a new location. So I'm going to do a alignment here. This is kind of like mates in Solidworks. So I pick a face. Mind you, I could be grabbing a file from someplace else and dropping it in here. So I could have a Solidworks file mixed with a ProE file, mixed with a CATIA file, mixed with an IGES file if I wanted to. Okay. Let's see. Let's try that one more time here. Let's get that aligned. I'm going to pick the bottom face of that, rotate around, and let's go and pick that face right there. There we go. So we've got it aligned on that. I'll go and translate it down. So I'll go and move over, get into position. So essentially I'm doing like a move copy body if I was in SolidWorks, because this is a multi-body part, but I'm not actually doing that. In SolidWorks, I'm doing it in Composer. You could though. You could make the change in SolidWorks and then bring it out again too. Alright, so let's go and get our orientation back to what we wanted. We've got our first view there. Okay. And we'll go and store that. Call that possible new location. And I'll go and do another zoom in here just so we're looking at it real close so we can kind of see that too. Rename that view. So again, I'm just establishing a few items here. Close up there. Okay. So I've got all my thumbnails that I'm wanting to bring into my PowerPoint, and we're good to go. Oh, I do want to save this out though into a SMG file, the composer format. So I'm going to go File, I'll go Save As, and Composer. Okay. Go out to my desktop, call that Design Review. We can password protect the files. We can also reduce accuracy, so there's lots of other things that we can do with the file. Just going to save that out to the desktop. Alright, so now that we've saved this file out, let's go and get some JPEGs of these views there. Okay. Switch over to my workshops. Workshops are essentially like the task panes within SolidWorks. So I'm going to go higher resolution workshop. I'll go over to multiple. And I want to say that I want to spit out all the views. Notice that we're able to actually combine the file name with the view name as far as the end file there, and then whatever delineator or separator between the two that we want to use. Okay. And let's see, so let's go and save. I'm going to go to desktop, but I do want to create a new folder here. So this is going to be review images. There we go. So design review images, we'll go into that folder. You can see that it's empty. And I'll go and go save. I want to go through and create all the different views there. Okay. I'll go and minimize Composer, minimize PowerPoint, we'll come back to that. And let's go and take a look at that image folder there. And again, you can change the resolution of all the different files if you wanted to. So we've got all of our different views there. Okay. Alright, so let's go back to PowerPoint. And I'm going to insert an image into PowerPoint. And this could be Microsoft Word, it could be Publisher, it could be Adobe Acrobat Pro, could be any number of publishing programs that you have. Could be Word, like you're wanting to write an instruction sheet. So I'm going to go Insert, Picture. Okay. This is Office 2010 if you're not familiar with the look of it. Set up real similar to, well, in fact, set up real similar to Composer and SolidWorks. They all kind of follow the same setup there. So I go Insert, go into my folder that I just created for the design review, and I'm going to pick out my main view. When I go to insert it, I do want to do a link to file option here. Okay. That way it links it back to that original image. Okay. So link to file. Okay. Drops in the one view. I'm going to drop in another one here. I'm actually going to bring in with it highlighted. Again, link to file. Let's see, let's put that one up there, put this one down here. Okay. If I did save out a PNG file or a TIFF, I can actually change or remove the background off of these if I wanted to. Okay. Alright, so that's essentially our first slide. Let's go to our next one. Which location should the bleeder valve be in? Alright, so I'm going to do the one with the detail. And mind you, this was the one that was done with the digger, but you'll see that it actually just established a 2D static thumbnail or a detail circle there. Okay. So that's the one location. Let's go to the next slide here in PowerPoint. And let's go and insert another one here. Let's see, let's do that and the background. Do that one over here maybe. And I'll go and do one more here. Do the detail. And again, each time I'm linking the file. Let's see, let's bring this one to the foreground. Okay. So, propose new location, fit form function, whatever, that's kind of what the reason for the design review would be. Okay. And so, let's go and take a look at what we've got here. And I'll just start up the slideshow. So we've got our nice design review slide. We can go to the next one. We've got our other images there. Again, mind you, I didn't have to be in Solidworks at all to create any of these. Okay? These are all based off of the original CAD data that I have. Okay? This slide we'll come back to here in a little bit. In fact, you know what? Let's go and do that one now. Besides the static images, we also have the ability of doing an interactive player with inside any Microsoft product or even PowerPoint or PDF files. So I turned on my developer tab ahead of time. Just Google it. There's actually a lot of different help things on Microsoft and how to turn on the developer tab. I'm switching over to the More Controls button. Okay. And then when you install Composer onto a machine that has Microsoft Office, it gives you this option for a ActiveX player. So I'll go and add that. I'm going to draw myself a rectangle for it, drop it into place, and then I need to assign it to what I want to connect it to. So I'm going to right click, go to Properties, and I'll go and link it to my file that's on my desktop here. So this is that SMG file, the native Composer format. Okay. You can see a little preview up there. Go and open that. Right now it's currently linked back to that file, but I could package it into the PowerPoint if I wanted it to travel with it. Okay. Go and turn off some of the excess stuff that I don't want. And this specific slide, let's start with the slide beforehand. So I'll go and start up my PowerPoint. So I've got all my detailed views. Go to the next slide. As soon as that slide loads, it actually brings me into a scaled version of the player. So I have all my different views. So I can go back to my main view, go to the different view there. I could also control what I was starting with as far as the image goes, but I get my digger, so I actually get the ability of using that digger while it's in PowerPoint. Okay. The other thing to point out too is this isn't actually a static image. I can rotate the model around. Okay. I'll let the web meeting catch up to me here. So I'm within PowerPoint, but I have the ability of zooming in, looking at the model, rotating it around, and seeing the information of what I'm working on. You guys have seen me do this all the way from the CAD data to the live PowerPoint. So there's no smoke and mirrors here. It's actually that easy to use, and I would have loved to have had this when I was back out in the industry there, working out in the shop and stuff. So would have saved me tons of time. Alright, so now we've got our issue of dealing with revision change, right? Let's see, we're going to come back to that one here. Let's get out of the PowerPoint. Let's go to our first slide with images. Okay. So now, suppose 5 minutes before the design review, engineering says, "Oh, I just got the cross drilling, the detail done." All right, so now they're wanting it to be part of the design review that's going to happen here in about 5 minutes. All right, so what do you got to do? Well, let's take a look at the Solidworks side of things here again. So I'm going to open up my disc brake, and caliper. Okay, so this is what we were seeing originally. So I'm going to just go and right click over a folder of a few features, unsuppress that, create my cross drill, and then also create my venting there. So you can see the model actually has some vents and everything, all those detail going on with the model now. So now I have new CAD data. Well, I need to get that over to my PowerPoint. A few clicks actually, it happens quite quickly. So I'm going to save this in Solidworks. Okay, so my Solidworks part file in this case, or if it was assembly, it would be updated. Close out of it. Okay. In fact, I don't even need SolidWorks anymore, but I'll just minimize it in case we need it later. That's PowerPoint, so I don't need that just yet. I'm going to switch over to Composer here. Okay. So Composer is still showing the old data, but I'm going to go to the File menu, come down to Update, switch over to Composer Document to do the update. Okay. And I'm going to pick out that file that we just saved. Okay, so you can see the timestamp on there is updated. Okay, same basic information. I don't need surface bodies. All the other stuff is great there. Meta properties, that's your custom property info, so I could actually put tags or part number flags on the assembly itself, and just the one configuration. All right, so we're going to go update. Got to convert the SolidWorks part file into the Composer format, but you can see that it updated my main view and then it updated all my other views. I was just asking if it wanted to create a new view here, but I have all my other views, but now with the new caliper, and that was a few clicks to actually do the update. Okay. While we're in here, let's go and add in an animation too. Maybe we want to actually get a video going on here. So I'm actually going to go start out with my main view. So I'm just going to grab the first view, drag it and drop it on my timeline. Any of you that have ever tried to make animations in SolidWorks, a little time consuming. For Composer, all I have to do is drag and drop them onto the timeline. It saves me a ton of time. I'll just drop that last one in there. Okay. So I also have now an animation in my design review there. Okay. All right, let's go and turn off that camera there so we're not seeing that. Go and save my SMG file. So I'm just going to go regular save. Okay. So that saves my SMG. I am also going to spit out my images again. I'm going to go save as. Again, keep in mind that I still have my all views checked on. Okay. Go to my desktop, design review. These are the original ones that we linked our PowerPoint back to. I'm going to go save. It's going to replace all those images. Okay. So it's done with that. Okay. And this is all happening really quickly. You see how it's happening. My PowerPoint's still showing that it's out of date. I could close PowerPoint, open it back up, and then it would update. Or I can go into the File menu, down to Options. Oh, my mistake. Sorry, let's go File, and then we're actually going to go into, within Info, we have Edit Links to Files. Okay. So these are all my different images. Okay. So I'm going to select all those, and I'm going to go Update Now. Okay. I can close, and then I'll go back to my slide, and now all my images are of the new view. This would have saved me tons of time doing instruction sheets. You don't even have to think about it. They're all there. Okay. Well, what about our animation one? Let's take a look at that one. So we've got our statics. Okay. Here's our animation one. It's got all the new views. Okay. But I also, let's see, I'll need to make a change here so I can get my animation available here. Alright, bear with me here for a moment. I go into the properties, layout, And I'll go and turn on standard toolbar, and maybe 3D toolbar, and timeline. Okay. And I'll go and start that slide back up here again. So essentially what I was doing was turning on all these extra toolbars. Besides the regular stuff that we were seeing before, I can do things like turn the ground on or off. I could do custom shadowing if I wanted to. Again, remember this is not a static image. Okay. And I also have my animation, so I can play that animation there as well. Shows the new location, moves it to the other position, reverts back. I didn't turn on my circle. I could have had my circle on there as well, but it was set to loop there. So besides the statics, well, what you think are statics, I still have the ability of rotating and seeing the new changes, and all that is actually there on the model. Okay. So, design reviews made simple, right? Not having to go through a lot of different changes and stuff. So I do want to thank GrabCAD and the author for that particular file, for posting that disc brake and the caliper out there. It looks like it's a Brembo premium disc caliper, so thanks to Brembo as well for allowing him and us to use that model. But definitely check out the GrabCAD website. I do have a couple of extra items for you here. Give you a website to definitely check out. If you want to show any of your co-workers that didn't get to join us today, take them out to this website. So it's www.3dviacomposer.com/demo. Okay. Make sure you do use Internet Explorer. They're still working on the Chrome and Firefox version of this, but so make sure you use Internet Explorer. In fact, I'll go and do that here. And within this, you actually have lots of different samples that you can actually show other people what other stuff you can do in Composer. So this interactive car I always like to bring up just because it's actually a pretty neat model. It gives you the ability of actually doing a lot of stuff with it. So I can actually click on windows and the windows roll down. I can click on a door and the door will open. This also was made in Composer. Keep in mind that if I made a change to the engineering stuff, I could actually push out the updates. So this is done in an HTML format. I can also switch colors if I wanted to. So this is all the stuff that Composer is capable of doing with the CAD data. Okay. So that's kind of a good one to write down, the 3D Via Composer /demo. Let's see, one other thing. Let's go and do one last thing in Composer here. A lot of us, sometimes we can't do PowerPoint or Word or whatever. Maybe we want to send somebody a PDF. PDF seems to be a fairly universal format, so I'm going to go Publish and PDF. 3 different formats, 2D stuff, Universal 3D, but then the SMG Enhanced is the one I want to really show you here. So I'm going to save that out, and I'll go and open that up here. So this is what the end user would get, and they'd get a static image to start with. They give them a hyperlink to download the plugin, but then if I click in the middle of the PDF, mind you, this is Adobe Acrobat Reader. Okay, I get the same images that I was working on, dealing with all the different stuff that I was working on, and I still also get the animation there as well too. Okay. So really powerful tool, and I definitely recommend taking a look at it, and it's worth the time looking into it. As far as costing goes, get with your account manager. They can get you costing, but keep in mind the amount of time that you would save, and also the amount of resources. You might have been getting ready to hire somebody just to do this type of stuff. Meanwhile, you could actually have one of your salesperson or one of your floor production people jump into the software and actually use the CAD data. CAD data comes out from SolidWorks, goes into Composer, so they can't affect the original CAD data. So the same infrastructure that you guys are used to with SolidWorks is the same infrastructure that we have for Composer. So same group of tech guys, myself included, same process as far as learning it and any issues and install and all that type of stuff. We're here for you guys. So at this point, I'm actually done. So if there aren't any other questions, you guys are welcome to head out. But I'll go and put up the end of the PowerPoint there one more time. And again, keep in mind, grabcad.com for new stuff, and also I do definitely recommend I'll put it down here at the bottom, but the 3dviacomposer.com/demo. And they can actually get you some samples that you can kind of play with on their website that you can do. All right. I'll go ahead and close out of the meeting here, and everybody have a great day.